Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you a really cool Batman telephone, and this is Mike's equipment from New York. And so Mike has a letter here, and it's a pretty long letter, and it's about all the different things that he's tried to get this telephone to work. I'm not really sure how he acquired this telephone, but I'm not sure it ever worked right for him. And so he's saying in the note that sometimes when the phone rings, the telephone would flash the little light here in the center and then take out all the phones in the house, like it shorted the line down. And then sometimes a bell would ring if he moved some things around. He also has a line cord here, which is basically a hardwired cord because of the little fitting that they have here, the little keeper. And I think he was trying to hook it up to the line, so that he could use the telephone. But what we want to do is we want to get this end and put a modular port plug so that he can simply plug into any line cord jack and then use the telephone. The issue is, and this is the initial checkout, and we want to show you the telephone. It's a very cool telephone. It's in very good condition. And it is the Batman telephone. We want to take some paper here that we have, and I want to set it there because I don't want to scratch the body. And so basically what we have here is the inside of the telephone that looks like a 2500 set. So it's basically a 2500 set without the dial, and then it has a light. So I've looked this telephone over, and I understand now why no matter what he's done to it doesn't work properly, because I'm not sure this telephone was even wired properly when he got it. So how the wiring got all mixed, matched, and in the wrong areas. He's even disconnected the bell, because he said at one point he disconnected the bell and he was able to get this and that, to maybe work a little bit, but he never got the telephone to work properly, and he never got the light to light and the bell to ring at the same time without shorting the house down, and none of the other phones were working. So he's got a lot of issues on this network. Just from experience, I can tell a lot of it is not in the right area. It's not connected properly. It's improperly wired. And anytime you add a light to the circuit, that can take out the lines and short them down and things like that. So what we need to do is take a short break. I'm going to go ahead and troubleshoot the telephone the rest of the way. We're going to wire this telephone properly. We're going to get our modular port plug installed on our line cord, and then we're going to come back and get some video and do a final check on this phone. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we are finished up with a repair of this telephone, and we're going to run through a little bit about what went on, and also want to do a little bit of testing before we put everything back together again. We went ahead and installed a modular port plug so that this telephone could be plugged into any modern modular jack. The network was totally rewired. There was a lot of issues going on, and we went ahead and wired this network the way we wanted to wire it to work the way we want it to work. There was a lot of connections here from the hook switch that did not need to be at the network, and so that was some of the issue that was going on. Another part of the problem was whoever designed the wiring to the network and then added the light didn't totally understand electronics. So basically what happened was the telephone probably never did work properly, and if it did, it didn't work for long, because the design was prone to failure. What we had to do is incorporate another component in the circuitry of the network for the light. And so basically that's why Mike was having so many different problems with the telephone ringing once and then taking all the phones off the hook and holding up his line at his home. The other issue is, without this component, this telephone is not going to work properly, because when you add a light into the situation along with a bell, you're pulling a lot of REN. So that component had to be added, or this telephone would have never worked properly. And so it was a poor design. And they didn't understand what it took to make this telephone ring and work properly. We also had some issues with the receiver and transmitter. That wasn't proper, and that had to be realigned at the network here, rewired. So basically, we had to go through everything. And now what we want to talk about is this telephone is going to pull quite a bit of REN out of the line on a ring cycle. This bell is the larger bell. It's to the 2500 set, and then this light is going to pull REN out too. And the way they had it connected before and designed, the light would have not had enough voltage to light properly, and the bell would have been very weak. So there was a lot to kind of redesigning the circuit and adding our component. So now what we want to do is our test. And one other issue is sometimes, and I noticed on this one, these T1s can be noisy. They have graphite crystals, granules in them, and if they do not align properly, they can become noisy. You'll get a little static sensation out of the handset sometimes. This one's not too bad, but that can be an issue. They can always be replaced, and this one is good for now. But I did hear a little bit of noise from it, and it's not bad enough to change it this time. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and plug the unit in. Give you some dial tone. We want to go over to our analyzer. I'm going to go ahead and hang the telephone up, and we're going to ring the telephone. I'm going to let that go several times. I'm going to let it go one more time. We'll go ahead and release the hook switch. Now, like I said earlier, if there's not enough ring cycle voltage on the line because the light and the bell trying to work at the same time is going to take a lot of REN out of the line. So if the ring cycle voltage is not in good shape and it's not up, then there will be a problem with the ring cycle. The bell will be weak or the light will be weak. And I'm going to show you that because we're going to ring it on a low setting. And we want to show you the light. And that's exactly what the light will do with no voltage. Now what we'll do is we'll stop the ring cycle and go to the normal. And we're back to the light lighting properly. If you do not have enough ring cycle voltage to ring your bell or your bell and your light, you may have to go to what's called a ring booster, and so that might be an issue. But at this point, the telephone is repaired. We're going to go ahead and put the cover back on, and then we're going to do our final test. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we are ready to start our final test. So we'll go ahead and ring the telephone. And I'm going to let that go about 4 or 5 times because that was one of the issues. I'll let it go one more time. Give you some dial tone. Now we don't have a way to dial out with this telephone, but what we can do is I have a button on this switch box, and if I push it, that gives us a line out, and we can take a special bat tone dialer and dial out. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Shop St. Clair Auto Mall, 4 new car lines and 3 huge pre-owned stores. Highway 50 O'Fallon or online at Offenburg.com. Today is Thursday, February 6th. The time is 7:34. Current temperature 17 degrees.
Bitterly cold today, then partly sunny, then becoming mostly cloudy with a chance of flurries, highs around 13. Very cold tonight, mostly cloudy. Then becoming partly cloudy, lows around 1. Very cold on Friday, partly sunny, highs around 18.
So now that we know that this Batman telephone has been repaired and redesigned at the circuit level, we can return it to Mike and he can start enjoying this telephone again. This is a really cool novelty phone, and we get calls about these from time to time and people wanting to have them repaired. They're just a cool item, and they look great no matter where they're installed. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.